I just conducted a webinar, and the question that I asked the attendees was this: if something were to happen to you this week, would your family know exactly what to do? And I know that if you've been following me for a little while, you probably have heard me ask that very same question on my other platforms, perhaps even on this platform in another way. But I wanted to come back and talk about this because as I was doing the presentation, I realized that this is a question that a lot of people really don't think about. They really don't think about what would happen in their family, what kind of chaos might ensue if something were to happen to them this week without any notice. So I attended an event recently, and when I was there, I was talking to some of the people attending, and I learned that one of the attendees had recently lost her husband, and it was sudden. He was in a car accident. There was no anticipation that he wouldn't be here the moment from the time he left the house that he never made it back home. And so just thinking about that, this is someone that I knew, not that I didn't know them well, but I did know them. And so it felt like a loss to me because this is someone that I just thought they were here. I had no idea that they weren't here anymore. And so I just started thinking, what did their family have to go through if they didn't have a plan in place? I don't know if they had a plan or not, but if they didn't have a plan in place, would their surviving spouse have had everything that they needed to deal with their home? I actually worked with a couple recently where we learned that only one of the spouses had title to the house. They thought it was a house that they owned together, but only one of them actually owned the house. They both were on the mortgage. Somehow that mortgage lender made sure they both were on there. But as far as the title, the ownership of the house, only one spouse was there. So let's say that spouse were to die. Would their surviving spouse have everything they need to continue to speak with the people related to the property? Now, in this case, they were on the mortgage, but if they weren't on the mortgage, would the mortgage lender speak to the surviving spouse if they were not on the deed and they were not on the mortgage? Would they be able to access their spouse's funds in their bank account? I actually worked with a client some years ago where her husband suddenly died and they had separate bank accounts. She had her accounts, he had his. So she had her own money, but his money was typically used to pay for some of the major bills like the house and for some other major expenses. And she was not able to access his funds for several months because they did not have the proper documentation in place. So she was not able to access his bank accounts. She had to find other ways to pay bills that he would have typically paid because that money was locked away in a bank account. The only way that we were able to get the money was to file a petition in probate court, ask the court to appoint her as the administrator. Then after a few months, she was able to get access to the money in that bank account. So if you were to pass in a few days, or if you became suddenly ill in a few days, I know you don't want to think about it, but these are the kind of things that we must think about. We must put a plan in place so that our family is not caught blindsided. So the things I just talked about were legally making sure things are set up so that they can access your real estate, make sure that things continue to be covered, that the mortgage is paid, property taxes are paid, that they can continue to live in the property with no problems, being able to access bank accounts, things like that. But then we also have to just think from a practical standpoint. If you pay certain bills, do they know where to go to get that bill paid? Do they know who is the phone bill under? Is it under T-Mobile? Is it under AT&T? Is it under Verizon? Do they know who to contact to pay the phone bill? Do they know who to call to access your retirement benefits? Do they know what company your family, your retirement benefits are under? Do they know who to contact to say that my loved one has died, I need to access their benefits? Do they know how to get to all your bank accounts? Maybe you got bank accounts that your family members don't know about. And I'm not just talking about a spouse. I'm talking about, it could be a parent. It could be a sibling. Do you know how to access their bank accounts? These are things that you may not want to tell your family now. Like if it's a sister or brother, you may not want to say, hey, these are where my bank accounts are. This is how you get my money. But you want to at least make sure that information is thought about. Like you actually took the time to say, where do I have all my money? Do I have all the passwords for my account saved somewhere? Do I have it very clearly laid out what to do in the event of my sudden illness, my death? Does my family know who my medical insurance is under? Do they know where to find my medical insurance cards? Like, I just think about family members that are in my life. If something happened to them, I wouldn't even know where to start. I wouldn't even know where to start. Do they keep their stuff in a wallet? Do they keep it in the dresser drawer? Do they keep it in the mattress under their bed? I do not know these things. And at any moment, people may be called upon to help a family member. I was talking with someone recently whose brother passed away. They're both adults. Their parents have passed. They pretty much they were each other's family. And that brother passed. She had to figure out how to get his car, how to be able to get his bank account so she could pay some bills that he had, make sure that things were taken care of for his children. There were so many things that came up that she was just like, I had no idea. And so if you are in a situation where you hear me and you're like, oh my gosh, Attorney McClendon, I never really thought about that. I never considered what would happen does my family know what to do in the event that something happened to me? Does your family know who you want to raise your children? If you're a single parent and the other parent does not have legal rights to your child, or they might be deceased, would your family know what to do to take care of your children? Make sure they understand their medical history, any special needs they may have. Is that documented? Is it easy to find? If you hear me and you're like, oh my gosh, like I'm feeling a little overwhelmed because I hadn't thought about all this, don't worry. I understand. I can relate to that feeling myself. What I encourage you to do is start working on your estate plan, because when you work with an estate planning attorney, we're going to ask you all these questions. We're going to ask you to complete a questionnaire to make sure that you have all of this information in one place. And then once we work together, we're going to create documents that you can then put in a special binder, or that you can put in a special folder, put it somewhere that's safe, send copies to people who need to have a copy of it, or at least tell them where they can find it. We're going to walk you through the process. Make sure you have thought through all these things and make sure you have this stuff documented and located somewhere that people can get to it when they need it. So if you live in the state of Georgia and you're feeling a little uneasy by some of the stuff I just talked about, don't fret, don't worry. Just find the link in my description below. Click that link, schedule a discovery call, and we can talk about this together. Y'all take care. I'm Attorney Veronica McClendon. If you like this video, found it valuable, please subscribe, share it with a friend, like the video. Y'all take care.